Hey everybody, it's your girl, Miss Motivational Mogul Mindset, Avis Cherie, and I came to do a recap and I came to teach tonight. I'm just on a natural high of being blessed for this 3-day conference. This conference was so amazing, guys. It was so beyond what I could think. But there is always, as I say, there's always a takeaway in everything, especially when God is stretching and developing and pruning you. So today I am teaching that no matter what level you're on, there is humbling experiences. And as you strive and as God stretches and develops you, you have to move when He says move. We have to go when He says go. We have to be still when He says be still. Always available to, be developed, and you're open to receive. So I want to kind of dibble and dab in that. When it's time for elevation, let me tell you, if I could have reached out to Dr. Cheryl in a private message and told her how like not in a bad nervous, but like in a overachieving, anal Virgo type nervous, like I wanted it to be so perfect because of the opportunity that she afforded us on that platform. But because I have faith and I have sound husband and I have family that know this is who I am and what I do every day, they, along with God, reminded me of whose I am. And that's part of what the speech was about. So tonight I wanted to come back because it was heavy. Some key takeaways and key bullets that I wanted to hit on during my You Are Enough speech. And I wanted to make sure I covered those bases for whoever was on the edge of their seat and God needed to continue that ministry. And I'm going to read from what I had written, my little outline of what I was going to do, if you don't mind. The title of my speech was The Verdict is In. I opened my speech with, I came to arrest anything that has held you captive and in pain and defeat. And I want you to know that the verdict is in and all false charges against you are dismissed. And I also spoke a word over releasing you from any shackles of other people's views and opinions. And I'm going to break that down. The reason I started out arresting things is because the You Are Enough conference is empowerment. And when I said the verdict is in, I wanted you to know that we were arresting negative thoughts. I'm saying we because it applies to me first. And we're arresting anything that's opposite of what God speaks to you. It's opposite of what you believe in yourself. It's opposite of what God promised. So we arrest everything that has kept you captive in pain and defeat. Why? Because when you are saying we are affirming that we are enough, we are saying that we're moving forward. We're saying that the shackles are coming off, that we will no longer be stuck, that we are transforming by the renewing of our minds. We are professing and proclaiming an affirmation of positivity and forward movement. But I felt that it was of the utmost importance to arrest everything that has kept anyone captive. So that's what that was about. False charges, false accusations. We're going to get rid of all of that. That's dismissed. So you put in your mind as in the courtroom of opinion, the court of public opinion. And that was what my story emphasized, being in the public's eye or public opinion of what you should and should not be doing, how you should and should not be moving. And so as we went on, the false charges against you being dismissed, you released from the shackles. We go into turning your testimony into a testimony. And I had you affirm things to say that you were enough. You choose to forgive. You're set free from self-doubt, guilt, and shame. Why? Because that's where it starts and derives sometimes. Sometimes no one poured into you how to give yourself high hopes, how to give yourself praise. And we have to be reaffirmed that it is okay and reassured that you can have your hope in the Lord. You can put all your hope in the Lord and that He uniquely made you. Sometimes we don't feel pretty. Sometimes we don't feel like that applies to us. So I am enough. I choose to forgive. I am set free from self-doubt, guilt, and shame. I am worthy of second chances, because a lot of times we're X'd out and exiled out. People want to just cancel our contract. I used to cancel people's contracts. They did me dirty. It was it. It was over. I didn't have to negotiate. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot more patient. But then patience, people take that what? Your patience and your kindness for weakness, and they push the envelope. So we have to put boundaries up. So that's what that is. I'm worthy of second chances. I give the same grace that I want God to give to me. That's what was most important. So I'm glad I have this opportunity to recap, because these are some of the bullets I needed to make sure that you grasp a hold of in this You Are Enough momentum, and let it feed your spirit and your soul. So I will no longer accept or expect less for myself. And I said, applaud yourself and celebrate yourself after that, and clap your hands if you believe and receive it. Why did I say that? It's because a lot of times we're not taught that it's okay to pop our collar. It's not okay to applaud ourselves. It's not okay to give ourselves praise after we give God glory. They think you're bragging. They think you're gloating about what you do, what you have. That's not it. We're told to oppress, and that suppresses the gifts inside. That suppresses the praise that's coming out of our mouth, because we feel like somebody's going to think we're better than them. So that's why I said, clap your hands if you receive and believe that you are more than enough. And I talked about being prejudged and tossed away. I talked about still desiring to push in the face of adversity, still desiring to serve others in the face of adversity. And I referenced what the awesome speakers before me said, because I was always saying I was a survivor, but she broke that thing down for me. She said, we're not just survivors, we are thrivers. And I said, why? Because champions never settle for defeat. They fall and get back up on their feet. And that's what we have to remember. When we fall down, we're not there long. And how many times did you get back up? How many times did you forget to applaud yourself when you did get back up? How many times did you say, I'm a strong queen, I'm a strong king? How many times do you applaud yourself for trying again and persevering and pressing when the odds are stacked against you? So that's what that was about. Whew. And then I talked about looking in the mirror and being told to look one way when other things were going on another way. And I referenced my mother because she's a strong sister, and she taught us how to not look like we were beat down and dragged out, but to walk with our head held high, regardless to what was going on in our home. But it also taught us how to disassociate, because then we didn't know how to seek the right help. We didn't know how to communicate for the help. And that's what that was about. And so when you start to disassociate from your reality, it numbs you. It makes you put on a good face. But one thing about my family, they're not full of frauds. You are held responsible and accountable how you treat others and yourself. And see, that's why when people say victims hurt victims, it's still a choosing to get up and serve when you don't even have anything to serve yourself. It's still a choosing that when you're beat down and you're grappling at the ground from all the things that you've gone through, that you'll never let nobody go through that on your watch. It's still a choosing. So that's what that was about. Everybody has a story. Everybody has gone through some sort of affliction and setback, but it is your choice how you rebound from it. So moving right along. So the next part was challenging situations. We forget that challenging situations that arise that challenge our faith. In that moment, we often forget who we are and whose we are. And we start to do the negative self-talk. Well, I'm honest to say that I've been there, done that, and do that from time to time. When I let myself down, I feel like I let other people down. Even though my benchmark and standard is high as heck for myself, when I even come a little bit under the threshold or benchmark of where I desire to be, sometimes all the time I got to have God-fearing people that can bring me back in with the word of the Lord, that can bring me back in with the faith, with the sword, with the armor. They got to remind me of all the things I do for other people and when I'm in warfare for them. And then I have to go into warfare for me. But a lot of people don't show or talk about how when we as prayer warriors and servant leaders got to go into the battlefield for other people, that sometimes we're depleted and don't have anybody to fill our cup so that we can go into warfare for ourselves. And then that still is not an option. You still, if you don't have it, you still have to pick up your weapons of warfare and still defeat that enemy no matter what. Because if you ain't got nobody around you, if you don't, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill your dreams. It's going to crush you. If you use that as an excuse to sit in the middle of your mess, it's going to come harder at you because it knows that you're not using your defense. It knows that you may not have a defense or may not know how to get your armors and weapons of warfare, how to go in that word, how to rebuke it and dispute it. You understand? So that's what that was about. The negative self-talk. And I was saying it was hard to muster up a pep talk in the midst of our funks. I'm honest with myself and I'm truthful with anybody I speak to. It was hard today. It was hard today. I had to get pulled back in. It took hours. As grateful as I am, I am for the opportunity and the doors. I am teachable. I am a student. And God had to chastise me and convict me because where I desire to be is not God's time and his will. So whatever I think was supposed to happen, how it was supposed to happen, and what I was intentionally trying to say to help heal and deliver people, he comes through. I asked him to decrease in me and increase in him. That's just what he did. So I got to chill. How about that? So just also talking about people who are equipped to speak in your life and offer encouraging words or impart wisdom. Make sure you use discernment. If you don't know what discernment is or what it feels like, we call it intuition or whatever. But I need you to make sure you're listening and you're trying their spirit and looking at their motive and figuring out why and what benefit it is to them that they're telling you what they're telling you. And if it's sincerely, it's going to feel pure. It's going to feel light. It's not going to feel heavy. So that's what you want to do with that. So I talked about being 16 and having people come to me and telling me and suggesting that I should abort 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of the children that I ended up having between the ages of 16 and 21, offering their advice of how much further I could have been had I not made that decision, and think about it again. Or you're making it harder for yourself. Oh, you just want to rebel. Although I had never been a problem child, nor had I ever been a disciplinarian student. I actually graduated a year early. People kill me with that. They aborted. They wanted me to abort what was growing on the inside of me, as well as they wanted me to abort who I was without even giving me a second thought. And so that's what I was talking about was had they asked me all the things that I had already been through, had they just sat down and invested some time in me, instead of telling me what I could not do, that started to tell me over and over again what I wasn't going to accomplish, what I wasn't going to turn out to be. That belittled and corroded my view of myself. And I started to lack in my faith. And that was real talk. Any of us, anytime somebody do something like that to you and you're getting more of that than the good stuff, it's going to eventually start to be an internal battle for you. So that's what I was talking about. And I wanted people to know at 16, nobody bothered to ask me why my life had already been so hard. If they had, they would have seen that they were talking to an overcomer, a chain breaker from domestic violence and cycles of abuse. They were talking to a future prayer warrior. That is who I was then, and God was cultivating me into who I was becoming. But nobody, we was taught to be seen and not heard. And what goes on in my house stays in my house. So when we are at church, raised in the church, in a family church, everybody knows what's going on except for the kids that's going and enduring. Ain't nobody talking about it. Ain't nobody talking to us. So I didn't have a lot of faith builders around me. Church was discipline for us. So the perspective was a little construed. So I was just trying to convey that they didn't know that all the spiritual and physical battles I had already been through and the level of sacrifices and prices that I had already paid by 16. And that was important for me to make people understand that when you're talking to somebody, don't talk at them like you can surmise their situation. Don't talk to them as if you already conjured up in your head what the outcome, what the beginning, the middle, and the end is going to be, because you don't know who you're talking to. And I think because I went through that so much, I am very careful on how I handle people. I don't assume it's another customer or another client or another mentee. I don't assume I know your story because I see the exterior of you. God has given me gifts to see the inside, the end first. So I have to be careful with that insight, because if not, I can go around her damaging about a lot of people. And I know what that feels like. So that it doesn't have to be victims hurting victims, because if you know what it feels like, and if it wasn't a good feeling for you, then you can choose to break free from that enemy and that vice and that shackle that's bound to that hurt that you inflicting now on other people. All right. So I'm sorry, I'm getting hyped. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that being a teen mom, I wasn't tripping off nobody being embarrassed of me, because that was minuscule compared to the tasks God had assigned over my life as a servant leader. And most important today, I wanted to make sure that you, no matter what, when the seeds of doubt come your way, the naysaying and all that, choose to serve others. And I want to give you some takeaways. And these are the takeaways that I did not get to include, as well as some scripture. So I want to give you some tools to put in your self-empowerment toolkit as we recap the You Are Enough conference. 1, know who to trust with your enough. I think I got to that, but I want to touch on it. Because people who have droughts in their lives love to tap out your enough. They make withdrawals and no deposits and overdraft your enough and make you feel insufficient. Know who to trust with your enough. Number 2, pick your battles and don't pick up other people's baggage. You have your own baggage to claim. Let them sort out theirs. Number 3, stay true to self, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Remember, the truth disarms a lie on any day. So if it don't apply, let it fly. Number 4, I want you to aim high and show up for yourself no matter what the situation is. Number 5, and most important, know thyself. Never try to water down or dilute who you are to appease anyone else. And I wanted to close that when you feel abandoned, rejected, or like there's nobody around who has your back or best interests, go to Romans 5, 3 and 4. We can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they help us develop endurance, and endurance develops strength, and strength character, and character strengthens our hope, our confident hope. So continue to keep God in prayer first, press on, and remember these 3 things. You are victorious, you are triumphant, and you are an overcomer. So rise up. So that's what I wanted to tell each and every person that logged into the You Are Enough conference. I love to do a recap. I was asked, it was requested, and it was mandatory, not just for me or for that person or those people that wanted to get the recording, but it was important for me because I am still full from enjoying and being poured into over the 3 days of the You Are Enough conference. So I needed to release what was in my womb, what I was sent to do today. So look out for me. Turn on your notifications. If you follow me on YouTube, put on your notifications. If you follow me on Facebook, Ava Cherie is 2, my personal, and the one for my author. Follow the author page. And follow me on Instagram at Ava Cherie. My cup run over, and now I have released what I came to deliver. I have given birth to it. I have learned from it. I am growing from it, and I pray that this reaches an ear to hear, and your spirit is cleansed by it, you're renewed by it, and you can click on it and go back to it, because this is Ava Cherie, Miss Motivational Mogul Mindset, the Inspire. And I came to tell you, and I will continue to tell you, that you are more than enough. And we're going to learn and rise up and grow together, because there's so much for each one of us to do. Until next time, I hope this has blessed you. I am now going to lay down, because now I have released what God had in me. Until next time, talk to you later.